Audio?
I think
Okay.
we had audio the whole time.
Oh, nice!
Oh,
We're live,
Rip.
back again
GG.
with another episode of the State of Modern podcast. It's after Thanksgiving, the week after, so come off of a little bit of a break. This week's a pretty busy week. We had a lot going on in
real
news,
life or in
in news for Modern, and then also we're hitting kind of like I would consider, always I keep saying that it's the heyday years of Modern. 2018. There's a lot of tournaments this year. A couple new sets. Nothing crazy added to it, so it feels like this kind of is the year where Modern really fleshes itself out. So
I tend to agree with that.
yeah,
The tournament list took me forever to put together. There's a lot of this is really the start of like teams events in Modern's history, and it's the 25th anniversary Pro Tour, which is a team Pro Tour. And so I think that's really when team events really started to kick off, is like WotC was pushing on themselves, made it a Pro Tour format, which was really cool. And so we're going to have a lot of deck lists to slog through.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, like you said, there wasn't a lot of cards coming into the format from these sets, so it's not gonna.
We're not gonna see very much of the archetypes changing, and no real fluctuations that much. Well, there's a pretty significant unbanning partway through this year.
There's a few new decks that pop up into this format.
True.
Yeah. So let's talk about recent news.
Yeah, because let's get right into it. Hopefully, we'll finish on time with all we have to cover tonight.
Yeah, we cut a lot of the cards from the sets, so we'll blow through those hopefully pretty quick.
Yeah. So, BNR announcement on Monday. There was a video released. When did it actually release? Like a couple days ago?
The ban restriction is coming up on Monday.
Correct.
Next Monday.
Next Monday is when it is the actual official announcement.
December 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But they released a video on YouTube, or it was live, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was a live podcast.
Live podcast that got released on YouTube anyways. It was a pretty extensive video going over BNR philosophy, and it involved the head of design for card sets, and
well, that'd be Mark Rosewater, but yeah. Dan Muster, M-U-S something.
I got the video pulled up on my phone, so let me just grab it real quick.
But one was like the super...
Andrew Brown and Dan Musser. Yeah.
Yeah, and one's like the lead, and I think one's the supervisor of competitive play. Mm-hmm. So what it looks like is you have those teams that do all the play testing and stuff, and they are a part of those teams.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because they kind of talked about how, when they want to make format assessments, they have their experts they go to, and they say, here, play this format for a little while, tell us what you think. We want to know your honest opinion and figure out what it is.
So that brings me into the first category of that whole, there's a lot of things to touch on, but when they explicitly go this is our process of talking about the ban and restriction, what's going to be on that list.
Yep. It
sounded like they have one person who's a dedicated format expert. They look at Moto challenges or whatever they're looking at.
Yeah.
And then they communicate that information back to their lead, their supervisor. Mm-hmm. And then a month before the ban and restricted announcement, they get 20 people in a room and they talk about what should happen.
Yeah.
Then they take, and then they also have an ongoing Discord, probably a Discord or Teams group thing, chat going. And the head or the supervisor of the competitive play, I think it was Dan, he kind of dictate everything. He's the editor. Everything goes through him.
Yeah.
And so between the data points they have from Moto and then bigger tournaments, which would probably be Grand Prix level, I don't even think they really collect data on PPTQ or RCQ level tournaments. They might get some of that information.
Yeah.
But then it's like it's I've always questioned is like, okay, they have Grand Prix information, they have Pro Tour information, they have Moto information, but can they really rely on the sporadic PPTQ or PTQ that does get a deck list here or there?
Yeah.
It's not like it's data, but you're not getting consistent data to prove a point.
Yeah, yeah, you're not getting down all the way to the local level of tournament play and seeing what the formats are actually structured like there, or
Yeah.
how balanced they are, for example. Yeah.
So we talked a bit about this at work. Like I brought up their structure,
Mm.
and at least and I played the video in front of people who don't really play Magic, and they all kind of uh, pointed out two things of like you have 20 people in a room all talking about their opinions on it, and I mean some opinions are more valid than others, and you have that they talk a lot about fun, so you have different a bunch of different subjective opinions on fun
Yep.
coming into the room. But at the end of the day, the big thing that everybody pointed out was like this all goes through one person at the end of the day, and like it kind of seems like they're the ones making the decision.
Yeah.
They have editor rights,
Right.
which Dan seems. I mean, he's a pretty good player. I do trust it, but
Yeah.
going back to a few podcasts ago, like
Mhm.
it's hard to not think that
Yeah.
there's other influences that play here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they even like pointed out the what was it? The price of the product in print with bannings and stuff like that. 'Cause they specifically called out banning Oko and then banning Omnath in respective formats when those both released and were still in print. So, it's I like you can almost say there's a kind of line they're treading there with that, where they're like admitting, like, okay, we don't care about the price of products, but like we care about the price of products. So, which it was kind of cool to see that they at least admitted to that they think the scam meta that we've come up with now was a mistake. They were like, we wanted to see where things shook out for the meta, and they just missed the ban. And they were like, yeah, we fucked that up big time, because everyone just pushed closer and closer to scam, and now the meta's pretty streamlined. So.
Yeah, I didn't think they were as explicit on that deck as you're kind of portraying it there, but
yeah,
I mean, two cards that they specifically identified were the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters.
Yep.
I didn't hear anything about. I don't think I recall anything being talked about like the evoke creatures.
They did talk about the enabling spells for those, like Undying Malice and Not Dead After All or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that, but did they even say Grieve or Fury?
They did not say Grieve or Fury.
That scares me.
They didn't mention the name of either of those cards.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, it was like, I'm kind of turning around a little bit on it now after I'm getting to talk to you and discuss like about the video, because I was pretty happy with the fact that they did like try to address a lot of angles of the philosophy of the BNR stuff. So it does give a lot more insight, but I do feel like, yeah, they were lacking on some more critical information, or just that maybe they were is kind of a vague focus on the problems that they're actually having around the BNR stuff. So
another thing that they talked about is like they never really identify one specific card. They kind of identify bigger
yeah,
schemes
like groupings or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I can kind of see that, where you identify a singular card and then you have to identify all of the deck types that card can fit in, right? So I don't know. Maybe there's a point to it in that where
I wish that was fleshed out a little bit more, explaining that mentality, or like what are the woes that you would see if you do specifically attack, like you go after one card, you go, okay, let's identify this card, let's see the pros and cons, what decks it affects, and then what does the vacuum leave.
Yeah, and they were talking about like they even mentioned Splinter Twin, and they're like, oh, we think it's too risky or whatever. And I'm like, I just tried to rack through my brain right immediately. What can I break Splinter Twin with? I'm like, there is stuff for sure, but nothing that's gonna usurp the crazy format we have right now. I don't think.
Yeah, the overpowered spells that have been pushed into the format are cards that directly conflict with Splitter Twins' interests.
Yeah.
Like Force of Negation, you're 20 on your turn. Solitude is a free removal spell. And
Subtlety.
Fury, Subtlety. And the Splitter Twin deck could be playing the Subtlety.
Yeah.
But most of the cards that were in the Splitter Twin archetype that were some of the powerful cards, like Snapcaster Mage, um, they've been practically pushed out of the format. Like,
oh yeah,
okay,
the fast enablers for Splinter Twin.
The deck has counterspell now. Like, okay, was it? Does that really push it like over the fucking edge to make it like so scary that we can't even touch it? Like, I wish they would talk about, okay, what are they like? What are they afraid of? What do they identify as? These are the risks, instead of just putting a blanket statement over, going, "Oh, it's too risky," and maybe they'll do that in their future.
Yeah.
Talks.
Which they did admit, they're like, we want to do more of these. We'd like to do. And they, one thing I do remember them hinting on was the previous BNR announcement. That, no changes. Oh, here's play boosters. They were like, yeah, we don't want to do that again. We don't want to do a BNR announcement with no details whatsoever. They want to make sure that there's at least some explanation to why they think that this philosophy should stay this way.
I'm curious. I'm wondering if I misheard this, but did Blake say that he's in charge of like that schedule, the BNR schedule, and that he kind of like dropped the ball on setting up the meeting? And
yes,
okay,
yeah,
I did hear that right.
Yeah.
So he like, I mean, shit happens. I whatever, dude. Like, okay.
Yeah. They didn't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
Was it before the BNR announcement or something like that?
Yeah.
Or they didn't set it up right. There wasn't enough time to test, or they didn't give it enough time. So it was like just kind of a nothing.
I do like so. In the first I rewatched the first podcast we did last night, and I talk about how I hope what Wizards of the Coast ban and restriction decisions aren't just a bunch of guys in a room theory crafting about a format. I wish they had. I hope they have some amount of paper magic or moto whatever going on.
Doing some real testing.
It doesn't seem like that for modern Pioneer, Legacy. Well, definitely not Legacy and Vintage, but
right.
I mean, if you're printing cards directed into a format like Modern, like I'm going to restate it. I expect you to be jamming some games here.
Yeah. Yeah. Take the funds from that set and pay a person to do this testing.
Yeah. Instead of like, oh, you're a new intern we pulled off the Star City Games circuit. Why don't you? You're our intern. Why don't you tell us your opinions or look at some challenges on Moto in the leagues and see how it's shaking out, and do some rough math on the percentages, or go into fucking MTG top 8.
Yeah.
Like,
we have the tools for it now, at least. So
better tools that.
Yeah, for data gathering.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I am pretty excited for Monday. I don't know, like, my head's immediately going to Fury as the ban. I expect Monday. I don't like they mentioned that it shares one card. That's the specific language says they talked about the 4-color Omnath deck. Mm-hmm. And they said it shares at least one card with the Scan deck.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The crosshairs are on the card right there.
It really feels like Fury. I mean, that card has been very problematic, and they address the fact of it hitting 1 toughness creatures as well. Mm-hmm. So they acknowledge that that's an issue. It gets pushed one toughness creatures out of the format.
Yeah, I don't even, I wish I don't even remember what my predictions were. I think it was like the One Ring and Grief were my 2 targets. Like last episode when we were talking about this.
Yeah.
I got the date wrong of when they're gonna drop it, but
yeah,
I guess if it's just dictated on whenever Blake feels like dropping it. Like fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I expect at least one of the evoke creatures to go. I think in some regard, like how do you leave those in the format and still have the deck not like? I was trying to think about how you tear apart scam without either reducing it to the point that the deck is null and void, but also like narrow down quite a bit. And you just have to attack one of the evoke creatures because everything else is just built around it.
Okay, so I've been watching. There's a lot of videos lately about this very topic that we're talking. This podcast is
Of course.
predicated on.
I mean, that's kind of why we started the podcast in the first place, right?
Well, more than usual. I mean, you got Pleasant Kenobi bitching about Modern like
Right.
every fucking day now.
Oh yeah.
And just like a bunch of YouTubers are hopping on the Modern train.
Yeah.
And talking about how it's not. They don't use this language, but it's like almost a dead format. Like what's motivating people to play it,
Mhm.
and they're attacking like Grief. Oh, what's Saffron Olives? His podcast
Oh.
with two other dudes.
Sure. Yeah.
They talk about it. I don't think they didn't investigate as many options as I think they should have in their podcast.
Mm-hmm.
One guy in the podcast was pretty much just like give up on it. Like that was his whole thing, was just like, oh, just give up on it.
Give up on the whole format and everything. Yeah.
It does.
Quit. Go do something else.
Why are you playing Commander? It seemed to be like his answer for the whole thing. I was like, okay, dude, why are you in this conversation? But going back to like the Fury thing, and they talk about they bring up fun, and that is a reason why they ban certain cards. Grief is not fun. That is the worst part of the entire deck.
Yeah.
And if you ban Fury, which opens you up for other smaller creatures, what the fuck are those smaller creatures gonna do on a turn one Grief?
Yeah.
A turn one double Thoughtseize. Okay, your removals. Okay, you're playing a creature based deck. You're playing usually less removal in those types of decks. So the Grief rips your removal spell, and then you're gonna have to play two creatures to even block that Grief. But at that point, the game's like you're tempoed out. The game's over.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like the Fury, it sucks as well, but the Grief gameplay just feels so bad that's why I'm like, that's what I want to be gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird too that the play pattern has always been there too for Grief. Where like we right away when that card got spoiled, my first thought was like evoke Ephemerate. Like we already saw Ephemerate get spoiled. Just evoke Ephemerate it, and you get double Thoughtseize. Potentially turn one with a single planes. And now we're seeing it just in the scam deck, like as a really good shell. So yeah, in that play pattern automatically just didn't seem fun, and it hasn't been. So
yeah, between the talk of fun, the talk of that deck being the best deck and the percentages, I still have to kind of point at Grief, even though they didn't say the name.
Yeah,
they didn't say Beetlejuice 3 times. So like, the One Ring and Orcish Bowmaster brought up multiple times that name. I think, yeah.
I think it's less scary than originally I thought it was. Like Bowmaster, I really think it's actually like a pretty good response to a lot of easy card draw in the format, which, I mean, great. I like that we have a tool for that now. And I think it'll just keep seeing play, but it's so much easier to respond to something like that compared to, our turn one Thoughtseize or the indestructible ring. Like responding to a 1/1 is a lot easier. It's just significantly easier.
Some things on the Orcish Bowmasters, like, are they going to get rid of Fury but not Orcish Bowmaster? Like, if they're taking this stance of, like, we want these smaller creatures to exist, how are you going to do, like, they both attack that front? So I kind of feel like if one goes, they're both going. But then if you ban Orcish Bowmaster, what's punishing up the beanstalk and the One Ring? So
Yeah.
do those both go because the vacuum's gonna fucking just
Yeah. Yeah, that's
be
true.
omnap piles.
It's very much a power vacuum situation where like you
Hmm.
can't remove everything all at once because you are just going to get the tipping scales of like prime time and rhinos and everything just suddenly surging out ahead of the meta because they have nothing to keep them in check.
Maybe they are expecting that once Fury and Orcish Bowmasters are gone, that Hammer Time will come back and combat the Omnath piles, which you got Prismatic Ending, you got Leyline Binding, you have 1 and 2 mana answers to the entire deck, and then if they leave Solitude around, like, what? Okay,
What's going to stop
this just
people
doesn't
from
seem.
shifting all the just? Yeah, I almost wonder with the elementals if people will just chase the colors because like you're going away from the free evoke creatures on red and black, but you still have blue, green, and white, and you still got tools like ephemerate and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
there's definitely different avenues that you can chase, and I wonder if the meta would shift in a more different direction towards those colors if either grief or fury gets banned in this case.
To some, I mean, have to. You have a 25% of the meta game. They gotta go somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
true. Yep.
yeah, you just inherently have more people playing those
That
types
is
of art.
crazy that we have a 20%, over 20% of our meta is consumed by just one deck.
I don't even look. I don't look at leagues or challenges for modern or I
No,
look
because
at
it's like
Pioneer because I'm like, is there something cool, like something that I didn't know about? No, nope. Okay, all
yeah,
right.
yeah, because it's like you go into a challenge list and it's like scam, scam, omnath, scam, something else, scam. No thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not going to change anything in Legacy. Not a big fan of that. I wish Orcish Bowmaster's gone out of that format.
Mm,
Whatever, I can live with that.
yeah,
Vintage, who gives a shit? Why were we even talking about it?
yeah.
And then, yeah, I think the vintage population is like just as big as Canadian Highlander or what's the other one I was thinking of? Shit, like Popper's bigger than vintage maybe, or
I
like old school or um
oh yeah.
pre-modern.
Yeah, you get. I could find. I've seen a 93, 94. I've seen more 93, 94 players, like people playing old school, than I have seen playing vintage.
Oh, absolutely,
So I, you, you'd be hard pressed to find a vintage. I don't know a single person that plays or owns a vintage deck in Cedar Rapids.
I know a few, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's different. And then they have to go to Gen Con or Eternal Weekend just to play with these cards.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas 93, 94, you can actually get games. Have you ever heard of pre-modern? Have we talked about it at all?
I don't think so.
So
Oh, a little bit maybe.
yeah, it's like all the old bordered cards. Some sets aren't. It's like the Four Horsemen sets aren't legal. I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
And then it stops at like modern. There's a ban list. It's kind of like that Edison format for Magic. I've been looking at decks. It's one of those formats like Canadian Highlander that hasn't been explored enough or hasn't had enough games jammed to know like
Yeah.
what's the best deck, or um, is it even a really actually balanced format?
Yeah.
And some of those like like tiny leaders, all these little formats that people, these niche formats, there's never enough games to actually figure out what the best deck is
Oh
necessarily.
yeah.
Well, it might exist, but it's like
Yeah. It's kind of cool how unique a formats you can find though. Like especially you're talking about tiny leaders. Makes me think of well, that Wizards announced it recently as an actual format, but Oathbreaker was like one that me, Brandon, Jack, and Spencer would jam games on Untap with Oathbreaker. We jammed for like a month straight.
Sorry, I just sneezed really bad.
So
I killed the mic.
we jammed games of Oathbreaker over and over again, and that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun testing out a format that was felt unique enough that you could jump in and have a good experience, and not be overwhelmed by the having the meta decks already figured out. So
Um, in this, so I guess concluding this whole talk about
the
the
BNR
BNR stuff, I'll stick with my theories. Or grief, the One Ring are getting. Yeah, I'll just whatever. Grief and Fury or Grief in the One Ring, but I do think they're going to be going down the Fury route and probably Orcish Bowmasters. And then I think that conversation was a net positive. It's all we got was more information. Yeah, I mean might critique be critical of some of the things that they're doing, like their decision making on these banned and restricted.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, like how many resources can they put in? I think they should like from what I see, I think they should be putting in more, but we don't have the whole picture yet, and
Yeah.
I hope just like when Huey Jensen or Willie Jensen, he talked about like, oh, we're gonna do all these things for standard. Okay, I'm happy you're saying that. I hope that's true, but until it happens, it's just talk. And
Yeah.
the same thing is happening here. We'll see on Monday what they're doing, and maybe they'll have a fucking mile long description of why they're doing this stuff and why
Yeah.
other cards weren't touched.
And I like you said, I honestly appreciate that. The more information, the better, because it makes you feel so much more justified when we're going into like I'm going into modern and I'm trying to figure out decks and stuff like that. When I see these BNR announcements that come out that are genuinely informative and like have actual reasons, so I'm like, oh, I don't feel vindicated as a player. Like my card just got banned, or why hasn't there been a banning for this or whatever? Because you have any at all information that Wizards gives, for to try to promote the health of their format. So
And another last point for me is like, we a thing I said in the first podcast was, I feel like more players quit playing a format or the game because you don't pull the trigger soon enough, not the opposite way around.
yeah,
And I feel like we're seeing that currently. People are leaving modern because you guys are waiting to pull the trigger on it,
yeah,
or just
yeah. Because I
people
feel
are
like
getting burned out.
that's definitely the fear for. I feel like, at least from my perspective as a modern player, like when I want to jump in and I want to play games in the format, my first thought is I just don't want to have to deal with scam. I don't want to have to get turn one, turn one double Thoughtseize or turn one Fury or whatever. It sucks and it doesn't feel good. And it's not a fun play pattern. And like, it's pushed other decks out of the meta. There's sometimes it feels like there's little flexibility anymore, compared to like when they just looked at 2017. You dozens of deck archetypes, and they were all managing to get up to Pro Tour or these Grand Prix levels. But we don't really see that anymore. You maybe get 10 unique decks in a challenge nowadays.
Yeah, the league seems solidified more. So I saw like a YouTube thumbnail. I was like, oh, what if they unban everything and start over? And I was like, I just thinking like, honestly, I think they're closer to doing that than I was before I watched that video, because they practically said like how much fun they had creating the ban list for Pioneer in the method which they did, how they're constantly interacting with the player base, constantly pulling in this data, and it was you saw the format move around every so often, and it's like I'm 100% cool with that. I think that would be a
Oh yeah.
motivate a ton of card sales. Every store would love it.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna go check and see what was on the ban list. I'm gonna go find these cards. I'm gonna build a deck with it. You know.
it would create a mad dash to get back to the format.
Yeah.
Everybody would go, "Oh shit! Like I gotta get these."
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, what do
Gotta
you think?"
fill back up my fetches again.
What are you betting on? What deck are you? Because you can't just like go out and get everything.
Yeah.
Like I already have. But
Right. Yeah.
like, so you gotta place a bet on a deck. And
Yeah.
Like I think this is gonna be the best deck, and then okay, Eldrazi's busted. You get to play for a few weeks, and then
The more format shakes out, bans start coming through again, and then it settles down into kind of like, hopefully some of the era that we're seeing right now. It's just like the 2015, 2018 era. It's been very healthy.
It follows a lot of video game strategies like MMOs lately of like, okay, everybody's bored and the normal game is stagnated.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go back to base level 1 and tear it all apart and you start from scratch and restart. And why not try it? Like
Yeah.
What's the fucking risk at this point?
Yeah. With the declining population of modern players and just they need something to jumpstart the format. I think that would. I don't think it'll happen, but I think it would be absolutely cool as hell.
I think a lot of people we know would just fucking dive right in.
Yeah, I know I would. I'd be like, I'm sold. Back in modern full time.
I would love the amount of fucking pack bets I would be doing is
You want to make a pack bet on this being the best deck in the format?
Oh,
you want to make a pack bet on this getting banned again?
Me and Spencer would be pack betting every hour at work. Every hour would be like a new pack bet, and I'd be fucking getting rich.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's out there listening here, and I think he'd be a dum-dum.
Win some pack bets against him.
Yeah. To the layman, a pack bet is where you make a bet and the winner pays the other person a pack of like current standard set or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the tradition, at least.
Yeah.
It can get spicy. It can be a collector booster pack.
Yeah. You're like pack bet. What are we betting? Betting. What do you think? I'm trying to think of something like kind of outrageous, but not stupid.
Magic 30 packs.
Oh. That's a hell of. I wouldn't even want to do that. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't even want to support that product in that manner, but
oh no. Best decision of my life. So, for the stream, I guess I ended up when we went to Magic 30 Vegas. We had a really unique experience with one of the cosplayers there, Roman. I don't remember his last name off the top of my head, but he goes by Tonic T. So shout out to him if he's ever,
dude, he's the
famous.
man. I've only heard the story. I didn't meet him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's awesome.
Do you know how I originally met him? So we were walking back to our hotel, and I'm carrying this Elena Daner canvas, and he's like, "Oh, where'd you get that? That's so cool." And I'm over here like about to cry because I did fucking terrible in the modern event and scrubbed out super hard playing prime time. So I'm just like, oh man, this sucked. This is a learning experience. I had a rough time playing modern. And we start talking about the painting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the cosplayer. I'm playing Guruk. You guys should come back and hang out." And we got talking, and then he invites us back a day or two later, or a day later, and we sit down and play Commander with him, and our game takes so long because he's playing Planeswalker Tribal over there, and we're trying to like aggro each other out, and these WotC employees come up afterwards and they're like, "Wow, that game took so long. It took almost 30 years," and they throw down this 30th anniversary pack to all of us. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I ended up selling mine for $400 and turning it into an underground sea, so that felt pretty good.
Yeah, I'm happy you did that. A real one or a Magic 30 underground sea?
Oh, a real one.
I remember when you got it, you're like, "I'm never getting rid of this pack."
Yeah, and
you
then
did say that.
I did because it was only like $200, and I'm like, "Oh, it's not worth it for me to get rid of it." But then it shot up to like 400. I was like, yeah, worth. And then Jack was the final straw because he's like, I gotta hook up. For I sold my pack for $400. I was like, hook me up with the guy. Tell me where. So it worked out. Yeah.
All right, should we get into it?
Yeah.
Or
2018.
Next week we'll have some more big news.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Imagine if they don't ban anything.
No changes.
No changes.
Introducing overpriced booster packs.
Alrighty. Let's switch to the full video.
Oh, I remember this year, honestly. This is so exciting to go through.
Okay.
So we're starting right away in 2018 at Grand Prix Santa Clara. This is Team Trios.
What country is Santa Clara in?
I have no clue. I don't either. Yeah. Do you recognize any of these names off the top of your head?
Sam Black.
Sam Party.
Yeah, Sam Party.
Black. So Dredge in first place. This is pretty much the list in its existence up until the point they banned Faithless Looting.
One card that we talked about earlier today.
Rally the Peasants.
No, right? No. Creeping Shell's not in the deck yet.
Oh, yeah.
It comes in this year.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Conflagrate, the old $10 card that's not worth 10 cents now.
Mm-hmm. It's playing 4 life from the Lums. That's pretty sweet. So, I love that card. I really, really like that card.
I wish I had a better spot in Modern.
I do too.
I wish there was a deck revolving around it.
Yeah, like that actually had some play use for it.
It might be time for an actual lands deck to exist. So create a Tabernacle.
Well,
Modern.
You almost can't play this card anymore because of Ren and 6. Like it's just better.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Why play that?
Yeah. Blue-white control. This is a pretty sweet list.
Still rocking the detention
sphere. Wow, a lot of planeswalkers. A lot of weird stuff.
Search for his Kanta main deck. You have this many planeswalker, this many permanents, and you're playing in the Search for his Kanta.
Mm-hmm.
Rune Halo. I'm curious if this is when Rune Halo really started to get like played.
Yeah.
I know it like got a huge spike at one point, and this might have been
for about a year. Yeah.
The thing that triggered it.
Well, there's a lot of decks you could target like their core piece and just be counter one spell, and that was really helpful.
Yeah.
Especially in these matchups with like Affinity, where you can just name Cranial Plating and shut off a lot of their power or something. So. Getting into the trials. So we see. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of like a blue-white control list based around Planeswalker synergy because of that.
You don't lose the game if you have a Gideon emblem.
Yeah, so you just zero them right away and start upticking them and sit behind them.
Death Shadow, Nathan Holiday, that's a familiar name.
Mm-hmm. This is the green blacklist.
Traverse, yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of last year, this version of the deck was gone.
I played
all Grixis.
Pretty close to this list once before with the Tarfires. This was a lot of fun. This list is pretty fun too.
Yeah, I think I didn't play much of this, but I think I would like to play more Death Shadow. I think they're gonna ban Death Shadow. No.
God, I fucking hope not.
Then we go to
some Mardu mid range. So this is I think we had this. Was this the one that got accidentally pulled up from last year?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is where we see Mardu Pyromancer start shining through, and it makes a big breakout this year.
I thought this was a Pro Tour deck. Like it didn't show up until the Pro Tour, but
yeah. I
mean, this is almost exactly what Jerry T played at the Pro Tour coming up.
Yeah. This is very concrete already. Like there's not very much deviation that I can see from how I remember a lot of the Mardu Pyromancer lists being.
I mean, man, if the modern metagame was at this power level again, I think I would enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
2 affinity decks.
Seen those over and over again.
Yep. Same old. Are packing the hate, or are they not this week?
Eldrazi-tron.
So this is starting to pick up more steam.
Yeah.
There's like a teens trio Grand Prix where it broke out, and then like I think it was Team Peach Garden Oath were like the first guys to really play it, and then Lantern Control by Sam Black. One thing they talked about in that podcast that we were referencing earlier was these two statistics of how much it's played and how good the deck is.
Yeah.
You might have a deck that's extremely good like Lantern Control, but like nobody's playing it because it's so complex. So that deck might stick around for a little bit longer than it otherwise would.
Yeah.
But like Scam, you have huge metagame percentage, very high power level, and it's pretty easy to pilot deck.
Yeah.
And so you got the worst of both worlds up here. Something's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
In KCI, and then
that's the first one that came to my mind.
Amulet Titan are kind of in the same realm.
Extremely high skill set, a little bit lower of a playability, or see a lot of play.
Yeah, a lot of play.
Yeah, so you don't see a lot of Titan players. It's actually like the more I think about it, and the more I see people playing Amulet Titan, you really don't see people play it that often.
Most of the people I know who like really have gotten into Titan, if they see somebody at FNM playing Titan, they stand behind them and tell them how they fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. That's what Adam did to me for a while.
You could have won there.
Yeah, you could have won there. Oh, well, thanks. You want to sit down and do it for me?
Nah. I moved on.
Yeah, Lantern Control. War of Inventions.
This deck could have existed before World of Invention.
And it did. We
pushed
saw
it over.
We saw it a little bit, so.
Yeah, any comments on this?
Not really.
Pretty straightforward.
It's pretty sweet. Top 8 there.
Then Rivals of Ixalan comes out. This set sucks for Modern.
Yeah, didn't really do anything. I kind of looked over the cards too, and I didn't see anything. Like there was maybe like the Bloodline Phoenix saw a little bit of play in some red decks or whatever as a 4-drop. But even then, we already had Chandra, Torch of Defiance, and like the cards were not impactful from this set.
No.
Rivals.
This year, so I'll come back to it. Blood Sun, there's some little shenanigans that people try every so often with that.
Yep.
That's it. Moving on to the next tournament, which I thought it was going to be
it's Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan.
Yeah.
In Bilbao.
So this is the one that we started getting into.
Yeah.
Lantern Control takes it with the inclusion of World of Invention.
The rest of the list is pretty standard for.
I wonder if more players, like if this happened today with Lantern Control, do you think more people would just immediately latch onto the deck and start playing it?
Maybe.
Because there was a huge stigma about people playing this and KCI. I played KCI and it was just like, oh, like you're the villain.
Yeah. Yeah. Lantern Control felt like kind of the boogeyman of the format a little bit, where it was like people who play Lantern Control are bad people, or they don't know, they slow play, or they're there's all sorts of.
Usually they're not the one slow playing; it's the fucking opponent who can't understand that they've lost the game.
Yeah.
Or like they don't know their outs to the situation, so they have to think about every card that touches the top of their deck.
Yeah, so the Lantern Control player like taps out their artifacts and leaves them with the land, and then they draw that land and go,
I don't know what you're doing. This is a whole new puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
Mardu Pyromancer.
Yep. Almost the exact same list. I think maybe a Blood Moon up or 2, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. So. I mean, great list. I don't know. Like when I'm looking back at this list, it's not like it's a nostalgic thing of like, oh, I played this deck a lot. I really love it. And I just like look at it and I'm like, they're all like fair cards to play. Like
Yeah.
the most busted card is Thoughtseize in the deck.
This deck was awesome. I really enjoyed the play patterns with this deck. Like
Mhm.
playing against this deck, I honestly enjoyed the games because it felt like an actual grind. You're playing against a very mid-rangey deck that has to win by incremental advantage. Like there's no just combo out or quick win cards in the deck. So even though sometimes it did feel that way with the young pyromancer, and then they just start getting value off all their spells, you get drowned in tokens. But that's the way that the deck wins. So.
I think if all these cards were legal, in this, I think, well, Arclight Phoenix pushes it out now.
Yeah.
So at the end of this year, Arclight Phoenix comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure we'll see this just switch to Arclight Phoenix.
Especially with Faithless Looting.
This deck, your card advantage isn't really coming from a you draw 2 card or you play the spell and you draw a card off of this spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's these really weird incremental advantages. I mean, Bedlam Reveler, you're doing that, but like,
right. But Bedlam Reveler, you have to get your whole hand into the graveyard first before you play it. Like you usually save it as your last card. So.
Yep. So you're going down cards to get it back later.
Right.
With the Kolaghan's Command, Bedlam Reveler. And then you kind of have like a almost I win card with Blood Moon.
Yeah.
I was wanting to say earlier that almost or before the One Ring and Up the Beanstalk, almost all the card advantage in Modern, like for a little while, was it was never a draw a card or like an actual like draw 2 card divination type of effect.
Mm-hmm.
It was and so like Orcish Bowmaster in that environment is like pretty meh.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of games where I play and I go like I'm playing around this Orcish Bowmaster completely. All those new red exile effects, like there's a lot of card advantage in that in red that's just completely goes around it.
Or a lot of your card advantage just no longer comes in the form of drawing a card. It's like you look at the top X cards and get a creature card or something like that, or just like very niche things that give you weird card advantage scenarios, like you're talking about with the exile spells, or oh god, which one I could think? Oh, I guess going back to Ren 6 again. That's easy card advantage right there. You fetch, pick your fetch back up every time, works every time. So.
Oh shit!
Oh jeez.
Don't break the game.
Yeah, I don't want to. I wouldn't want to break one of these. These are nice.
What would be funny is if they ban Orcish Bowmaster on Monday, and then they really realize that they fucked up because Preordain takes over the goddamn format, and it's just like, well, we can unban. They're in the meeting going, well, we can unban Preordain because Orcish Bowmaster keeps it in check, and they're like, well, fuck, we gotta get rid of this. We gotta get rid of this Orcish Bowmaster. Do we ban Preordain again?
Yeah.
We can't do that. We'll ban it in 6 months when everybody's sick of it. But it's like it's gonna be very innocuous up until that point where everybody's like, everyone's playing Preordain, god damn it. Like and the pros write enough articles telling, hey dumbasses, like this is the card that's causing the problem.
Yeah.
We'll see, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal, but it's so in the description I talk about a lot of new decks show up. We got Lantern Control, Martyr Pyromancer, Hollowed One.
Mm-hmm.
Even maybe Humans is pretty new for the format. So you have like some of the top 8, like most of the top 8 is all like new archetypes almost for the year.
Yeah.
Which is it's cool.
Yeah. Especially Hollowed One was like that's such an interesting deck to play with and against. Because you're like just randomly pitching your shit and trying to get it back.
If it was only your random shit, fine.
Yeah.
It's the Burning Inquiry that really fucks the deck up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And it kind of you get the feel bads just like the Fury effect is you're discarding and it's more of an eye roll.
Yeah.
Then of course you're going to target my best spells.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you saw a lot of the Hall One get played in like different archetypes too. It'll probably pop up later with like Vengevine, especially.
Yeah.
Vengevine and Bridge I know got played a lot together with Hall One at some points, and Vengevine will definitely comes back later this year or next year at some point.
Comes back. It's like its first real showing.
Oh yeah,
We don't see a lot of it in modern.
true.
I remember wanting Vengevines for the longest time, and people would be like, "Why the fuck do you even want it?" It's like I want it for modern.
Yeah,
And it's like, why?
yeah,
It's an overpriced card for the longest time.
yeah.
Blue red pyromancer.
Well, this is like a thing in the ice control deck, basically.
I didn't know this card or this deck did this well at a pro tour.
Wow.
This is, I mean, half the decks I've played in my life right here.
4 snaps, 3 thing in the ice, 3 young pyromancers are the kind of the win cons, and then everything else is like you got your card draw, all your removal, mana leaks, logic knot, lightning bolt, electrolyze, cryptic commands, instructional visions. Like this is blue white or blue red control with some pretty cool little win cons. Yeah.
The thing in the ice is always a Nambo with like, unless it's playing with Snapcaster Mage, just a Nambo with Young Pyromancer and Arclight Phoenix, which are cards it tends to get played with a lot.
Right.
But with the card filtering, you kind of can get around it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Well, and typically you'll end up with like it being the only thing alive because your Pyromancers get killed or your Snaps get killed. Mm-hmm. So as a 0/4, it does have the ability to stick around pretty well.
That fucking 3-turn clock. It's more like a 2-turn clock in reality.
Yeah.
Abzan getting played by Reed Duke.
Mm-hmm. This is a very mid-rangey Abzan build.
Playing our girl.
Kind of like the deck list we were talking about last week that we really liked. Yeah, playing Lily on the last toe.
So I believe at this Pro Tour he's on camera talking about Nile Spellbomb and how he's like, it's another one of those cards of like, people should be playing more of this card. Mm-hmm. Like the Faithless Looting, Jerry T. I mentioned it last week when we mistakenly talked about this tournament. Mm-hmm. Jerry T's like, Faithless Looting might just be good enough. Like, yeah, it's card disadvantage, but like, it's really fucking good. It's a very powerful card. And then Nile Spellbomb, Reed Duke almost said the same thing. It's like, it's a cantrip, but like, there's so much graveyard interaction that this is just, if you use it at the right time, even if you don't draw the card, it's worth the price of the card.
Oh yeah.
But you can get that bonus effect with it, and it's modular. So
yeah, and at this point, I feel like a lot of decks are kind of catching on to the graveyard synergies really, really well. Mm-hmm. Especially like this deck is utilizing it with Delirium, and you have like the Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls gets played a fucking this year or so. But like Mardu Pyromancer, Hollow One, the Abzan deck, Dredge, lots of decks are relying on graveyard synergies, especially with Faithless Looting. It's just such a big enabler for that sort of thing.
Well, it's somewhat of a Nambo with Termagoyf, but with the Termagoyf, you're getting a long time ago somebody's like said the basic 4 for Termagoyf. You've got instant, sorcery, land, creature. Mm-hmm. And then you have the other 4, which I think is 5, right?
Yep.
But the other 4, tribal, artifact, enchantment, planeswalker.
It's typo now.
Sorry,
Lucas.
typo. I'm racist on it, I guess. I don't know. And so you might be sacrificing these 4 on your opponent's side of the field, but you're getting one of those harder ones to get on your side of the field. Yeah. And sorcery is kind of like one of the harder ones, or used to be. It seems like it's gotten easier to get a sorcery in your graveyard.
Yeah, there's a lot of good sorceries that get played now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like the most common ones now are probably like Purity and Thoughtseize, of course. But...
And this was before like they were really playing Mishra's Bauble at its fullest. So.
Yeah. I wish we see it. The Shadow List picked up on it right away, which is super cool to see.
I think Reed Duke was right with playing the Nile Spellbomb over like a Mishra's Bauble in this deck.
Absolutely.
And then we got humans.
Mm-hmm. I remember having an Ancient Ziggurat, buying Ancient Ziggurats for a stupid 5-color Allies deck, and they shot up to like $12, and I was like, "I'll get rid of this thing."
I got the golden.
I got the golden ticket. Look at my golden throne. Little golden. I don't know. It's on a temple or something.
This list, like, we saw a worst version of this list like last week,
Yeah.
and now this deck is made. Period. Every one is locked in. There's like the Keswick Malcontent slot is the only thing that fluctuates.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's maybe a play set, and then that one slot that fluctuates between it. All the deck lists that we see for humans, I reckon.
I guess we see Militia Bugler come in, and kind of fight for some slots.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, this deck is pretty set.
Like the freebooter, and what else was the new? Was there anything else that was?
This came out in
Unclaimed Territory. Unclaimed Territory. The land.
Oh yeah, that's actually very critical to the deck.
Yeah, because they needed that color source.
Get that second one, yeah.
But the Kite Sail and the Unclaimed Territory really solidified this deck list up, and then just their sideboard is every good human that you can think of for all sorts of versatile scenarios. So,
getting 4 of this is still on my want list for some reason. From all the way back then. Yeah, I just never got them. Excuse me. Another humans.
So they took out the Malcontent and added a Kithian, which is kind of cute.
A little more aggro, sure.
Yeah.
Traverse. Just talked about this deck. Again, I'm surprised that it's not Grixis.
Yeah.
Something must.
The absent Grixis seems to flip pretty often. Yeah, what just happened? Oh, we left the top 8. Okay.
Okay. Oh, sure. Okay. So, best decks. Jerry Thompson did the best with that deck. That's probably why it got so much coverage. This blue-white control list. Let's look at that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, this is similar to the list we saw in the last tournament. They got a Dragon Lord Ojutai, though.
Yeah, this is like almost the exact same deck.
Yeah. What about the Gabriel and the Nassif list there?
Oh, another one. Huh. It's off the top 8. Maybe they just suck at drafting. No offense. I'm just kidding. Gabriel and Nassif never. Don't even listen to me.
Very similar other spells.
All right, real quick. Tell me what Glimmer of Genius does.
Glimmer of Genius? Is that in this list?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, it's a 4-mana draw a card. It's scry 2, draw a card, add 2 energy.
God damn it. I didn't think you were going to get it. Yep.
Yeah, I remember playing that card.
I played the shit out of that card.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Do they have any energy synergy with the Glimmer?
No, it's just a card advantage.
Just scry 2, draw a card.
At instant speed.
Yeah.
Then that's the winner.
Any interesting deck lists, you think?
Corey Burkhardt's still playing fucking Grixis Control.
Never dropped it.
I love
Never
it.
put it down.
Playing Search for Riscanta. He dropped the Ancestral Visions.
So makes me think a lot of makes me think of Sam Oglesby. He played a lot of Grixis Control.
Yeah. Ben Friedman. Here's a Grixis.
Humans. There's a Storm deck.
Yeah. I guess Storm. There's a lot of people in our local meta who used to always play Storm. And
oh yeah.
I mean these tournaments are just not showing it.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go on to the next tournament for the year.
Wow, we have so many Grand Prix to cover. Holy crap.
Boggles. Burn.
Boggles, Burn, Jeskai Control.
Poor Jeskai Control player.
This is a hot list. I'd play this in a heartbeat. I love this list.
Whoa. I've never seen the art on that.
This is the new Doctor Who Celestial Colonnade.
Oh, if I didn't have mine since the beginning of Modern, I would consider getting those.
I probably will get a play set of those.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're like the extended art files. I think are $1.50.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Look at that, 87 cents for Celestial Colonnades.
What's the worst you got in one of those for? Because I remember what I got mine for.
3 packs of the standard set.
I paid $55 for one.
Holy shit!
It was an OG World Wake one years ago. Back when it was like that was you wanted that land for blue white control when I was building.
And I traded 3 packs for.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was borrowing it from the person, and they like refused to give it to me for a very long time. I want to say months, but I know it wasn't that long.
Wow.
Eventually, I like strong arm them. I think I gave them something in order to get it.
Oh really?
Yeah. Grishol
brand. Oh, this is Shoal. Okay, so this is the deck list I was kind of talking about that Riley was building.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Goryo's Vengeance, they try to get Grizzlebrand out and then pitch their World's Spine Worm to Nourishing Shoal. Yep. So we started to see a little bit. We've seen Shoals occasionally pop up in decks like this, but it's always fun to see like which one. Like Shining Shoal is the big one right now, but we've seen Nourishing Shoal pop up, Disrupting Shoal a little bit. Burning Shoal is always going to stay banned.
I love Disrupting Shoal.
Yeah.
Burning Shoal's banned, yeah.
Will always stay banned. I don't even know what the black one does.
Sickening Shoal.
Oh.
It gives the creature -X, which X is equal to the X cost or CMC of the X spell you pitched.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's X. I think it's Exile. Yeah. It's got to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Exile green card from your hand.
Okay. But pretty much what you're trying to do is cheat a Grizzlebrand into play with Goryo's Vengeance. Then once you do that, you draw like 14 cards. You get a Nourishing Shoal, and you pitch one of these big green creatures. Mm-hmm. You gain a shit ton of life, and you draw like 7 more cards, and you keep doing that. And then you cheat in a Borborygmos, and then you discard all the lands to kill them.
Yep.
So it's more like a combo deck than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this deck's pretty funny.
It's like Neoform, but you have to rely on the graveyard as well. Not gonna see play today.
No.
With counter magic in graveyard removal, just in main decks and stuff.
It kind of lurks at the edge of the meta for this year or two.
Yeah.
Especially with Simian Spirit Guide going away eventually. That nukes this deck a little bit.
It's not. Oh no. Elves. What's the white for?
Playing Vizier combo.
Yeah, this was so I never really was a big fan of elves in Modern until I saw this list with the Vizier, and then you have things to do with all your mana once you've dumped your hand.
Oh yeah, and Azuri is a really good enabler for that in the elves deck too.
Is there anything else you want to mention here?
Not really. I mean, this looks great. Mardu Pyromancer, Affinity Burn.
Honestly, I don't like this meta game at all.
Really?
No. Boggles and Burn are the 2 top decks. I mean, Jeskai Control, whatever. That's a fine deck.
Yeah.
Grishol Shoal, not a good deck. Or not like a good place to be. Elves, fine. Traverse, fine. Affinity, Burn. Mardu.
I like the fact that we're seeing such high varieties of decks ticking the top of these Grand Prix, though.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different in the top. Okay.
Yeah, and especially compared to Ixalan, the Ixalan Pro Tour we just saw right before this. Like, this is a completely different top 8, top 4,
Yeah, honestly, not a fun matchup. Gristle's Shoal, not a fun matchup. Burn, not a fun matchup. And depending on some people's day, Affinity's also on that list. So
True.
Fun level, very not high.
Yeah.
That was Toronto.
Oh.
Big news.
Yeah.
February 12th, Jace the Mind Sculptor and Bloodbraid Elf get unbanned.
I remember this day. Yeah. There's a video, one of my favorite videos Lucas has ever sent me before in my entire life. It pulls out this box, flips it open. Fortunate Son's playing in the back room or background. He pulls out a Jason. blows off a piece of dust, holds it up. This is a huge unbanning. G shot up to like I think $150 almost because of this unbanning. It was close.
Something like
He was well above $100.
Mm-hmm.
Liliana the Veil was above $100 this time.
Was it really?
Yeah, she was $117 when I traded for her.
I should have got rid of him.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember some other card prices at the time. I think Verdant Catacombs were still almost $50.
Easily.
Yeah. Scalding Tarns were probably in the 70s.
Oh wait, one thing we forgot to mention last week is Modern Horizons 2 or 2017, and that's the reprint of the Fetch Lands.
Oh yeah. Modern Masters 2017.
Yep.
Yep. And then I think is it next year or I don't know what year exactly, but Masters 25 comes out in a couple years.
Next year is Modern Horizon 1.
Holy shit.
It's 2019.
So 25 is probably out by this time, especially the unbanned Jace.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Okay.
Oh, and it's this year because the Pro Tour is Magic 25.
You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's some good cards in that one too.
A lot of hype. No one felt like it was gonna break the format. They wouldn't have unbanned it if it was gonna break the format.
Mm-hmm.
Jace seemed too slow.
Bloodbraid was really that was a little bit scary. I remember people were kind of hyping it up, but it was a lot of fun for the format.
Those first 2 weeks after the banning were a lot of fun of the Bloodbraid versus Jace the Mind Sculptor battles are here, and it's I remember playtesting with a Jace the Mind Sculptor Blue Moon deck, and it just I won a lot of those fucking games.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I stuck that bad boy. He's went pretty crazy in card advantage.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of curious if we go right into Grand Prix Leon, if we see any specifically Jund decks coming back with Bloodbraid Elf.
I want to bet neither of these are in the top 8.
Okay. I think Jace will be. Holy shit. Jeskai Control. Wait, go to the Jeskai Control list.
Oh shit. God damn it. Oh. Yeah, I win. Yeah.
What?
Nothing. In fact, I remember this happening.
Wow. No one changed anything for a little bit. Huh. That is crazy. I really thought there would have been some amount of them being played.
I bet it's on this one.
The blue-white control.
Wait, what the
What
fuck?
the hell?
Hold on.
They're playing... Hang on. You have your date right for the banning?
I don't know if I do. Oh, hey, Noah's back.
Titan hurts my brain. It hurts my brain too, Noah. It hurts my brain. Amulet Titan is a very confusing deck to get down. Lots of math.
The only time I've really tried to conquer that is when you're playing it, and I was playing against you with it to try some things. Wait, what the fuck, dude? All right, hold on. I gotta switch browsers just in case.
Can't show me board history. Whoa, Lucas, what are you searching up there? Whoa! I learned something about one of the what is the player called? He did the Ignite Memory win for.
So this article is posted the 19th of February. It said last Monday when Jason Mind Sculptor was banned. The original banned and restricted announcement is no longer. It's a 404 page not found.
Oh shit! But there was an article about it, so it came out before this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we are correct on times. It just didn't do anything. It didn't do anything immediately. Huh. Mm-hmm. Just crazy. Lots of mono green Tron. This Grand Prix looks like.
And I mean, Tron always existed.
Yeah.
Dense here, but it's not like it won first place.
Yep.
Oh, so Mono Green Tron, there's a guy from Star City. I talked about this. The guy from Star City was hyping it up, and it got a big thing of wind in its sail. I think it's just a lot more people played it because it seemed like a much stabler of a list than the red green ones.
Yeah.
Abzan doing this well in a field of Mono Green Tron is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
This guy's playing practically the Reed Duke list, if not card for card.
It's pretty sweet. It's a nice list. Same deal.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just surprised that Jessica Control list was playing like the Nahiri Harbinger. What the heck?
So a Chroma Angel of Fury, you play it on its morph side, and then you Flicker Wisp it or Restoration Angel it to make it into a
That's hilarious.
Monster of a card.
Protection from white, protection from blue. Can't be countered 6/6. That was the best target they could think of.
And it was cute. This was back when you're flickering blade splicers in the format.
True.
Or Eternal Witness. Leon and Arbiter land shenanigans.
I love Tax's lists.
People are talking about Leon and Arbiter right now with that new
1 mana sack destroy land. Yeah, which I would like to get my copies of those because that seems like a pretty good list to have or land to have.
Oh, yeah, same here. So this is a team constructed, so not these people aren't necessarily like the most winning people in the tournament.
Oh, their team
is.
Okay.
Okay. Good list.
Was that the Grixis?
Yeah, Grixis Shadow.
Okay, yeah.
Valakut.
Now they're playing Bloodbraid.
That's pretty weird. This is like the old standard list.
Yeah.
Very similar. You need the Slag Storms here, and
I bet all three of these Jun lists are playing Bloodbraid. There's Bloodbraid.
And yes, Glory Bringer too. Going over the top.
I love that card so much. Hollow One, Eldrazi aggro. Playing Bloodbraid.
Playing Bloodbraid Elf.
Everyone wanted to play Bloodbraid after that.
A little weird, but hey, they did well enough at a Grand Prix to get by with it. And then, Hollow One.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we haven't really stopped to talk about this deck and how it breaks down.
It's pretty simple. I mean, for the most part, you're trying to pitch to get Flameblade Adept or get a Hollow One on the field right away. So you're burning Inquiry, discard half your hand, hope you get the Hollow Ones, slam them for free. Mm-hmm. Or you got a Flameblade Adept, make it huge, swing with that. You discard your Blood Gas, hopefully, into your burning Inquiries, and then get them back with the fetch land. Keep your fetches up, and then, fetch your Blood Gas back when you pitch them off. So
now in the format, you get to guarantee it on your turn 3 play.
Right, yeah. So this is almost like kind of like a scammy deck, in a way.
I was thinking Rhinos.
Oh, true.
Turn 3,
actually,
you're getting your hollowed ones with trample.
Yeah.
And on top of it's like this deck got Faithless Looting Ban. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is Faithless Looting Ban? Or if this is the reason.
No, this was that was Phoenix, right?
No, it was splash damage to Phoenix. They knew that it. I guess you're right because something got banned, and then they knew that Arclight Phoenix was gonna take over the format after that. I'm sorry, you're right.
Phoenix was stupid strong.
This was the splash damage.
Yeah. Played Flamelight Phoenix too, which was interesting.
I don't know how strong. I'm curious at how strong or how well Phoenix was doing. I knew it was a big part of the metagame at one point, but it's like.
Every time I went up against it when it was at its most powerful, I just remember going like, "Fuck, this is literally an uphill battle the entire time." Because they get like a turn 1, turn 2 Phoenix in the bin and get it back, and they're swinging for 3 or 6 or potentially more on turn 1, 2, or 3. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty deadly, especially having the storm build with the Faithless Looting.
A lot of Jun in this. A A lot of blood braid elves in this.
Hmm.
Where the hell were we?
Madrid to Phoenix.
Phoenix.
So March 26th or March 16th.
Steve Locke wins it with humans.
First place with the 5-color humans deck.
And then Matt Nass Ironworks.
So, ooh, so is this the very first time?
I think so.
Yeah.
This was big news when he won it with this deck immediately.
Well, I remember watching the clips about it because it was like he had like a 20-minute judge call, practically. I think his judge calls took longer than his games did.
Imagine being that opponent and they're like, okay, wait, how is this working? It's just like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So my KCI story is my friend Mason talked me into playing it, played it, play tested with it for like 2 weeks, and then I played at F&M as well. And then there was going to be like a PPTQ. I was playing it on the Saturday. Mm-hmm. Friday night, our friend Josh, he's a big judge in Iowa. He's actually been judging at the Pro Tour and stuff like that.
Josh
Schroeder. And I'm like playing the deck, and then somebody calls the judge, and I'm like explaining it to him, and I thought I was doing like a very reasonable way of explaining it to him, and he didn't really like know about the deck, and I thought he was fucking with me, and I was like, I thought the whole night I was like, is Josh like mad that I'm playing this deck? Like he hates the fact that it exists, and like he's like being a dick to me about it.
Yeah.
And I got like anxious, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna go play tomorrow if I'm just gonna get fucked on every ruling of like, oh, you didn't use the right word, and that's why I'm not gonna let you go off kind of thing.
Right.
And it's because I said simultaneous. He's kind of like, well, you can't do anything simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I guess that's not the perfect word to use, but
yeah.
And then later on, we went to the bar, and I was like, dude, do you not want me to play this deck? And he's like, no. Like he's like, no, you play whatever deck you want. And I was just like, yeah, but like, are you like giving me a hard time in these judge rulings because I'm playing this deck? And he's like, no, I don't know how the deck fucking works.
Yeah. This deck was like ungodly confusing to play with and against. I remember that. Because if correct me if I'm wrong, but the interaction is that you've got a KCI and you have to have a spell on the stack in order to sack all this stuff and start the loop.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're paying for something. Like you're overpaying for a spell, right?
From what I remember, the way mana abilities work is you can use them at when you have priority.
Yeah.
But you can also use that. So KCI, Karkland Ironworks, says sacrifice a artifact, put 2 colorless mana in your mana pool. It's a mana ability.
Yeah.
You can also use those to pay for spells,
yep.
which is there's a whole sequence of things when your card goes from your hand to the stack. There's like 7-ish things that happen, including paying for the spell or creating or making that mana in your mana pool, like tapping your lands as a mana source. It's faster than an instant. It's faster than even your priority.
Right.
So when you sacrifice all of those cards, I'm going to use the word simultaneously to pay for that spell.
Yep.
Targeting for your Murretriever and your Scrap Trawler hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So those cards are all going to the graveyard simultaneously. Then once that card gets from your hand to the stack, then those targets happen. Then you can target all the cards that are going in weird orders.
Yeah.
And
so then you have to you recur all of them at once, the 3 that you sack.
Yep.
And then you have to recast in a specific order, or you'd have to have another spell.
I would have to have kind of the cards in front of me to remember exactly that situation, but it's that timing of your card going from your hand to the stack, and how targeting doesn't happen until it's on the stack.
Right. Because you need all 3 of those you need all 3 of your artifacts to go to the bin simultaneously in order to be able to target and see each other.
And they're all in the graveyard when that targeting finally initiates.
Yes, state-based actions are checked, and then the triggers will go on the stack. So But then the loop from there on out is keep sacking artifacts until you get enough mana or enough resource to be able to either loop a Pyrite spell bomb, or in this case, it looks like they're trying to get an Emrakul out or a Hanger back.
Yeah, you're doing it with a Mox Opal, so you could do neutral ones, but then when you get an Opal in certain situations, you are netting a mana every time you do it, and so you're just redoing that, reoccurring that.
Right.
And then there's iterations where you're drawing a card every time you do it as well. With Chromatic Star.
Yeah, and there's like Ichor Wellspring to turn it on as well,
and then
Terrion.
Terrion, yeah, that's another big one for it.
Terrarion, I think. Yeah. But then just all the 0 mana artifacts in there too, where you can just cast it for free, sack it to the KCI.
Then Sai comes a little bit later. That's a really big boon for this deck. That sideboard strategy of just casting the artifacts.
Just keep casting them and make a bunch of 1/1s and kill them. Yeah. But yeah, this deck was huge. I mean,
the engineered explosives are another really fun small game within the deck of like getting the mana to like knowing when the time is to pull the trigger on your EE against them, or to just be looping that to draw more cards to get to your Mox Opal to go off.
Right, and you're running a lot of colors in this deck because you're basically a colorless deck with the spheres and the stars too. You have access to so many more colors. So I do remember getting like E for 4 against this deck because they just had the color range to do that.
Oh yeah. Once you get a Mox Opal, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Ancient Stirrings. This is kind of one of the last showings of Ancient Stirrings, other than the
Green Tron still keeps it, but like...
this is Ancient Stirring at its finest this year, because you got Lantern Control, you have this, and then you have Tron, which are the 3 big decks. Oh, and a little bit of the Eldrazi played it a bit. Back when people considered banning that card. Night of the Reliquary and Retreat to Warhelm.
Yeah.
So this deck's back. It's, I don't know, bigger.
It's playing the Devoted Druid combo, so it's like a weird amalgamation. They're playing Jace the Mind Sculptors.
Yeah, I don't get this.
So this is a pile of something. Spell Quellers. Like, this is a really weird list.
This is a pile of couldn't make up my mind.
I want to play all the best cards.
This is Bring the Light Scape Shift with Jaces. Okay.
So now people are really picking up the Bloodbraids and the Jaces and wanting to play with them. So we're trying to figure out where the cards are going to lie, I guess, in the format at this point. Green, white, taxes.
Green and taxes.
Green and taxes.
Yeah, we've seen this.
This is
similar list.
I like this list a lot better with 4 voices main board. It's really fun.
Yeah, you got a lot more hate in this.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mirror and Crusaders, there's points in Magic play where, like, Phyrexian Crusader and Mirror and Crusader are just unbeatable.
Yeah.
You can't get through them.
Oh, yeah.
We have better versions of these cards at this point.
Yeah. But Mirror and Crusader was always a huge sideboard card. I remember using that a lot.
Mono Green Tron, Green Eldrazi, and then
Breach Moon, which, as a list we talked about not really liking before.
Garbage.
Blue-white control. Is this one running Jace's, the white-blue control list? It's gotta be.
Jace.
2 Jaces.
Gideon. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 Jace.
That's acceptable. I like that list. Is that Kyoto?
Let's see. No, Kyoto is a team trio, so there's not a lot of info on it. I mean,
Affinity, blue-eye control.
Let's see. Oh no, it's such a big bad matchup for Tron though too.
This is.
I remember seeing this list and go, "Why the fuck are you playing Ojitai? What are we doing here?"
Ojitai, 1 Gideon. I can still see Gideon. He was pretty popular at the time.
Well, this is
spreading.
This is good Gideon, man.
Like,
Well, it's not the 5 mana Gideon, which they usually were playing.
Gideon Jurez.
It's playing the 4 mana one.
Getting out my Zendikar is awesome. I really like that Planeswalker a lot.
And then
Time Walk stick.
taking turns, yeah.
2 exhaustions, 4 part the water veils, 3 temporal masteries, 4 time warps. Lots of double draw effects, Dictated Griffix, Howling Mine. Playing Jaces.
Jace, yeah.
So this is a mono blue deck.
I mean, taking turns exists now, but it's called Omnath Pile.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
And just wait to get a Ren 6 retrace.
All right, another Grand Prix. Is this back to back like actual Grand Phoenix Hartford?
A month. A little less than a month.
Yeah, in a month he gets first and third in a Grand Prix playing this list. That's if you weren't paying attention, now you're paying attention.
Yep.
They cut the Emrakul bullshit out of the list, and it's just like streamlined.
Clean cut combo. Yeah, this is nasty list.
It was the first time I played Guttural Response was in this list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually good in this list.
I love these trinkety ass decks. Even if it didn't go infinite, I would love playing this kind of deck. Karkland Ironworks was one of my favorite cards when I like first started playing Magic back in like Darksteel, Fifth Dawn, Bearded era. I was just like, dude, everything's mana now. Like,
yeah, I remember when you first talked to me about that. You're like, I'm gonna pick up a place of these, and I read that card, and I was like, shit, I need to get one. And I picked one up, and I put it in. What was I playing at that time? Saheeli, like a Saheeli EDH deck as a one of. And that was the cornerstone of my deck. That was like the combo piece I went for every time to go get. It's like sack a bunch of my artifacts to it and then just pump out like a huge Dark Steel Forge or something, make everything indestructible. And it was,
I had
stop doing
I had a few of my KCIs. I didn't have my whole playset, so I had to get them from Kevin because I knew he had at least 9 of them.
Oh my god.
And then somebody else got 5 of them from
Yeah.
him. Or 4 of them from him. Amulet Titan, 4 Azuzas. That's a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Again, like Amulet Tron, ever since the banning, you don't like it pops up in the top like 16 of all these tournaments, but never just this that much of a boogeyman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are these all different decks? Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely diversified.
Not the Boggles. 2 Boggles lists.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind. So 7 out of the 8. I mean, for diversification, yeah, this is like really good. But KCI, Amulet, Boggles, Burn, Boggles,
Affinity.
a Hollow One. These are all decks that it's like you're not thrilled to really play against.
Yeah. Their play patterns weren't always like win all though, which was the nice part about it. You have phases of interruption, and you have ways to deal some sort of interaction to these decks. Especially Boggles, like the EEs. Engineered Explosive was so outrageously expensive during this time.
Yeah, $90.
Yeah, they were stupid expensive because it was just like one of the best counters in the format. You could play like a 1 mana EE and blow up all their Boggles creatures.
It was like one of the only effects of like destroy all permanents like at that level.
Yeah.
Those didn't exist as much as they do now with especially a lot of the white removal we see.
Right.
I'm curious on this Blue Moon list. Oh god damn it.
Playing Through the Breach.
You lied to me.
Through the Breach Moon. Breach Moon.
Yeah, so after this tournament, a bunch more people were playing KCI. Sydney. Hollow One Humans. Tron, Affinity.
Dredge. Interesting.
Humans. Team Modern Unified. So they have to be playing different decks.
Yep.
No real burn, which is surprising.
Yeah, none at all. No Boggles either, which has been different from the last couple tournaments we saw.
It's pretty similar to what I was playing. No repeals, and no spreading seas, but yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the decks I would expect to be played in these aren't showing up here.
Yeah.
Corey Burkhart, fanboy right here.
Two Think Twice. Interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that. With the Jaces, that just seems like overkill.
Three of them at that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this list, but hey, guess I can play say Grand Prix. What am I saying?
And the Team Unified Grand Prix.
Yeah, let's see what was the team name. Green Red Tron and Affinity. You had to win some games. Green Red Tron's the old version of the deck. Dominaria. A lot of hype around the set. This was one of my favorite sets in all of Magic. I talked about the pre-release experience of like I was kind of on the edge of whether or not I was going to play. My friends talked me into playing, and me and my friend and D Low cracked a foil Urza, or I'm sorry, Karn, which was like the big hit from the set.
Oh yeah. They were like $50 non-foil at the beginning of the set.
Oh yeah. Still think that card's very underrated, but
I agree.
it was just like super nostalgic. Like again, it's not nostalgic for me. I didn't play back then. It was just like cool lore. It brings back old characters that had really deep, and it's like, why did we move away from these characters?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and just the theme of the Dominaria set entirely. They're like right away. I guess we could get into discussing some of the big hits because I think we have them all listed, like the cards we cared about, which was Teferi Hero Dominaria was like fucking huge. Like that Planeswalker completely reshaped a lot of decks and a lot of formats. I feel like
it might be the best 5-mana Planeswalker.
Yeah, I don't think there's what's like Gideon Jura and I'm trying to think there's another 5-mana Planeswalker. Venser, Sojourner, whatever, the Flicker one.
Yeah. So like the 3-mana slot was defined, the 4-mana slot was defined. I mean, Sandra Torture Defiance gave JTMS a little run for its money, but then 5 mana.
Yeah,
Teferi's the freaking deal.
Yeah, that is the nuts. Oh, like the uptick just made it so good, especially for like we'll see pretty quickly after this. Control shells pick it up very quickly because it's like you play it, uptick, pass. Okay, I'm gonna swing your Teferi with my creature. Well, I have mana now for my path, so I'm gonna path it. It was effectively a 3-mana Planeswalker at 5.
Yeah, it's a very good. It's a very 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 good fix on the old like Palancron and frantic search types of untap your lands. Oh, and Time Spiral. The card, not the set. Like those effects were obviously broken. Everybody knew it, but this is such a fair version of that. The -3 and looping him infinitely, a little less fair. Like that's kind of bullshit. But
yeah,
that like when standard degenerated to that being the only way you could win with the deck is by decking your opponent and looping your Teferis.
That was a fucked up deck list, and I hate to admit I played it. I played the Splendid Reclamation deck list. Yeah. Nexus of Fates and Splendid Reclamations. People conceded before you get a game done. So Karn Scion Urza, highly anticipated card. Very very good in the beginning. Like people really hyped it up. I think it fell off quite a bit. Didn't see as much play as we thought it would, but every colorless Planeswalker has seen some play in some regard. They're great.
It's colorless. It's card advantage. It makes a creature to block it. It had every checkbox checked
for like a decent Planeswalker.
I've been playing it in my Canadian Highlander blue-white deck or artifact deck.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite cards to see.
Oh yeah.
Make a fucking 10/10 and
draw
then
2 cards.
Draw a card.
Yeah. Mox Amber, that one was huge. That is the first Mox we've seen printed since Opal. So even with the legendary condition, I mean, there were a lot of legendary creatures in this set, like tons. This is when they changed the border on legendary set cards, and then they also introduced downshifting the rarities of legends because they had the uncommon legendary creatures, and then after this following suit, they started the planeswalkers in War of the Spark.
Yes.
So then we get to see kind of them playing around the shifting the rarities of those card types because planeswalkers were traditionally always mythics. I don't think we had a rare planeswalker since Lorwyn.
And this was like I think the first set where they're in recent times that they're like, you guys want more legendary creatures to play for as your commander? Here you fucking go. Here's a whole set of them practically. Oh, yeah. And Mox Amber, when it came out, what people tried to come up with clever ways of doing it wasn't that. It never really was that good.
It was hype. It was expensive.
But
like it was yeah.
With any one of those, any Mox, it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
It's just a matter. Yep. Now you got like the Emery shenanigans.
Yeah.
You had
Emery was huge.
Kethis. There's a guy who made like you can exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard to cast one. Yeah. So that's banned from Pioneer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that card is somewhat of something to keep an eye on.
Oh yeah. And then Shalai Voice of Plenty. That one's honestly a personal favorite for me because it was a great win con in the Devoted Druid Company deck. And then Dampening Sphere. That was a very, very good answer to a lot of the decks that wanted to, try to combo out right away or Storm or anything that added extra mana like Tron. Mm-hmm. So this is like a very interesting kind of catch-all card. Quite a lot of it.
They're taking those sideboard slots and jamming it into one. So instead of having like 5 sideboard slots to attack 2 different strategies, you got 3 slots and it does double work. So
yeah,
you see, they don't do that as much anymore. Like that was one of like the only cards they really did that to, and kind of a good effect of melding those.
I mean, it sits up there with like Grafdigger's Cage and some of those other really cheap artifacts that are just very good response pieces. Defense Grid, Pithing Needle. Trying to think of other ones. Engineered Explosives. They can perform multiple duties at once. So they're very versatile and very good cards to have.
Here's another team trios. Humans. Holy shit. Seth Manfield playing Jeskai Control.
Interesting.
That's a
He's playing 2 Teferi Hero and Dominaria. So yep. Blue Eye Control or Jeskai Control playing Teferi. Yeah, this list looks hot.
I don't like list. Secure the Waste, but other than that, I'd play shit out of this list.
Fucking love it. I will always play one of Secure the Waste if I could with this list.
Huh. Yeah, pretty. He's playing the Elspeth for the top end on those bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a cool list.
Pyramids are Hall of One. Yep.
Let's move on.
We got
Las Vegas is a big one.
Scroll down real quick. I want to see how many more tournaments
we got. A fucking ton. We actually.
Holy hell!
Yeah, we need to blast through some of these.
Yeah.
All right. Speed round. Matt Nass wins another Grand Prix with KCI. We haven't learned to ban it yet. The whole rest of the tournament.
2 months later. Yeah.
The whole fucking rest of the tournament is Tron.
Humans.
Here you go. Here's the Andrew shout out with Devoted Druid.
Oh, this list is. This is like the first list I ever built. Almost. Minus the Selfless Spirits. The Reflector Mage.
A lot of big names in this tournament.
And the Judge is familiar.
It is. Judge is familiar.
Yeah, they're playing the stupid bird.
Meh. What do you know with that?
No. Cut those 3 and then replace them with something else. And that was about the list.
Eli Cassis, big pro player now. He's playing this.
So people have picked up on it finally.
Antiquity War. I think that's a pretty good, cool inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to get around all of the hate in the format for that. I remember watching videos where they're like, ban it. Like nobody runs that fucking hot. the third Grand Prix top 8 off this card.
Yeah.
A lot of control in here.
Wow. Yeah, lots
Hardened
of blue-white
skills.
control.
First time Hardened Scales has popped up.
Interesting. Sparring Construct is kind of like a early one for that.
Oh, and I guess Mox Opal's still around, so
Yeah.
they must have been feeling a little spicy in order to betray the normal affinity list to play this guy. Throne of Geth. This popped up. It's Matt Nass again.
Yep.
Or I'm sorry, Josh Utter Layton is. It might have been Matt Nass included, but Josh Utter Layton used this in Legacy for Chalice of the Voids, and then it got popular based off of that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because you can stack it to itself. I like it. Jason Teferi. Yep, Jason Teferi. Probably Jason Teferi in most of these lists, I'm guessing. Yep. Yep. So yeah, we see a huge rise in blue-white control about this time, with specifically Teferi entering the field, like really pushed blue-white control, I feel, up into the top end of the format for this year.
Javier Dominguez playing that Seth Manfield list.
It's a hate bear list.
That's an interesting place for a format to be.
Yeah.
Was that Barcelona?
We'll find out. Sure.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Matt Nass must not have gone to that tournament.
Nope. He didn't go to this one either. So Martifier Pyromaster takes first place. Pretty standard cut list to what we've seen for the rest of the year.
Casey has pretty much taken the spot of Lantern Control, where you'd have one in the top 8, and it might.
Because it's the only person out of the tournament that knows how to play the damn deck.
Right. So.
It's kind of funny to see 4 Valakas there at the bottom. Yeah.
Core 19.
Yep.
Stitcher Supplier.
Huge one.
Might have been the most everlasting card on this list. Alpine Moon, big favorite of a lot of people in our local area.
Yep.
I made a lot of money off that card. Master Thopterus, another big angle for KCI.
Yep.
Supreme Phantom, just
good for spirits.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with the Remorseful Clerics. So I kind of mentioned it, but yeah, that one didn't really make the cut either. And then Militia Bugler for the humans, right?
Another tool for humans.
Yep.
Here's
good card selection.
That Pro Tour I was talking about, where it's the team tournament. This is one of the coolest things WotC's ever done.
It was a Pro Tour team tournament.
Yeah.
One KCI. Black Red Vengevine.
Oh, Justin Cohen's back. Top 8'd this. He's had to have been on Sam Black's team.
Gabriel and the Thief playing blue-white control.
I wish you could see their teammates. This is probably must have been who was in the modern seat.
Yeah.
Had to have been.
Playing one of Settle the Wreckage, 2 Terminus. So this is when they start playing the Terminus build for a little bit.
Yeah, because they have the Jaces they can afford to.
4
Holy
Terminus.
shit.
Yeah.
With Search for His Content, like, I don't know, that's pretty realistic.
Oh yeah.
I played only when what's the island? It's an island that you can fetch if you have 3 islands other than
Mystic Sanctuary.
Mystic Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Vengevine. Oh, this is a janky, weird list with greater Gargadons.
So this is when they start the experimentation with Stitcher Supplier. This is, yeah.
You're going hardcore into cheating out Vengevines, and then you have this other bigger play of greater Gargadon.
The bridges were like super good for this.
This deck is evolving.
That is not the first and the last we see of it, for sure.
Is that Prague?
Oh, that was the 25th anniversary.
Oh, really? Holy shit. Okay.
Damn,
Damn,
there are a lot of tournaments this year.
Bridgevine, let's look at that. Okay. Same, very, very similar list.
Cutting down to 1 greater Gargadon for a little bit more
they're going hardcore into Vengevine
Yeah.
and Bridge Below
But
shenanigans.
their whole deal is like they play a Stitcher supplier, sack a Stitcher supplier, pitch a bunch of stuff to the graveyard, and then get it all back and swing you for a bunch on a super early turn.
What year is it? 2018.
Yep.
So about 6 years earlier, Sam Black was trying to make this work in Legacy with Goblin Bombardment.
Oh yeah. Jeskai Miracles. So yet they begun like full terminus build now with the Miracles.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I like this list a lot.
I played this list and I loved it. I guess
There's
sorry,
a
that
lot
was
of
Jeskai.
removal.
That one's Jeskai, but I played the white blue version of this that's opt and terminus, and I loved it.
I mean, if you remove everything on the board and it's always a clear board. At this time frame, there wasn't like any planeswalker removal other than damage. So if you have no creatures to attack by Jason Mind Sculptor, I'm gonna win with this Jason Mind Sculptor.
Oh yeah.
Jeskai Tempo with what the fuck? This is
Figures of Destiny.
Back from the first tournament of the format.
Jumping straight out from like 2014.
This makes no sense to me. This is Figure of Destiny this late in Modern. This is my vote for what the fuck are you doing playing this card?
Yeah, that's fair one.
Human. Let's see if these human lists are playing Militia Bugler. Yeah, 3.
Yep.
So yeah, this is about normal.
Yep.
Cuts down on Reflector Mage. Play Militia Bugler.
Yep. Old Band Spirit starts to pop up. Just noticed that.
Oh yeah, Cody, another pet deck of his.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Phantasmal Image. I imagine
this showed up, but I still am kind of like, why I would rather play humans.
Yeah.
The interaction of ripping cards from hands and just.
Is that a Goblins deck?
Damage.
I didn't think Goblins got anything yet.
Goblins?
Yeah.
Where?
Below the Band Spirits.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, this is like a super blitzy deck.
Yeah, like a blitzy bushwhacker deck, unless you know.
Yeah, it's this is one of the first hate rack decks. You're playing Devastation Summonings. As an additional cost to cast it, you may sacrifice X lands. Put 2 XX elemental creature tokens into the battlefield for 1 red.
This deck was like entirely just blow out your hand as fast as possible and then win. Like try to win.
And then this is a fun one. Flame of Keld. First thing is discard your hand and then draw 2 cards. So it was weird card advantage before they started doing the exile effects. Now that card's just garbage.
Yeah.
We just looked at this one. Detroit. Oh, that's Team Unified. Hold on, let me look at that again then. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm confused on that.
Huh.
Some of these lists don't show up on MTG.
They're not showing
top 8.
the trios properly either. Mm-hmm. So Band Spirits wins it in this one. I guess that the Supreme Phantom really helped out.
Yeah, first I was like, is this set even out yet? But yeah, no, it's like the Shadows.
Yeah. Spell Queller with like Coco. In all of the every single one of the spirits gets hit off of Coco. So like this deck list is tight. I've definitely had a lot of fun playing against this.
The hexproof is huge off of the Drug School Captain.
Yes, I remember you had to be very careful when a Phantom when a Spirits deck played Coco, and you had to check how many Drog School Captains were already on the field. Because if they had 2 Drog School Captains, you're fucked.
Yeah, removal.
You have to board white.
If your deck is like a removal spell deck, you ain't gonna win this battle. Like that's blue white control. I bet if we go back and watch. Well, Terminus help on that battle, but
yeah, I remember playing a 1 of Wrath of God in the sideboard of the Vizier deck at one point because I was like, I just don't want to. I can't 2 Drog Souls. I can't win that. I have to like combo them out before they beat me to death. Or Worship. Worship worked pretty well.
I have a vague I really don't have a great recollection of this time frame of like Control is doing well.
This is when I was playing Control like nonstop. I feel like
mm,
I played a lot of Control during this period.
so you picked up the mantle.
Hmm.
I barely remember this deck being around in this version.
I
This
remember.
Bridgevine deck.
I remember. It sounds weird to say, but like, God damn it. You don't. It sounds bad to say this, but at our store you don't see female Magic players that often. But I remember there was specifically a female player who was playing this deck, this Bridgevine deck.
Is it the one I think you know?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
It was too long ago. I don't even remember her face. But I played against her once, and that was the first time where I was like, "Whoa, this deck is scary." So
Took a woman to show me.
yeah, it took a woman to show me what a real deck looks like. Like, wow, there's just so much blue eye control in this. Like Teferi just really, really pushed it out ahead for sure.
Terminus. Let's bring it back. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Search for his Kanta.
Yeah, I'm betting by this point, like right about this time, I imagine. I think I probably had one, maybe two Jaces. It's probably almost done with the blue eye control deck. I would have had Coco done at this point. 2018.
Oh wait, did I? Wait, Grand Prix Hong Kong looks just like.
Yeah, the exact same as
Detroit?
Detroit.
Yeah. What the? Wait.
What? Oh, you have the. They're both the same list for Hong Kong.
Oh shit. Okay.
So we went through Hong Kong instead of
Yeah.
Detroit.
Well.
Yeah.
I knew that was gonna happen when I put this together. I was
There's
like, I don't have
so
time
many-
to double check.
How many lists are there?
Did I
I'm
do
kind
it
of
for
curious.
3 of them in a row?
No, there's no way. Stockholm was different.
Oh no. Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What's this one? What's Prague?
That's the Hong Kong list.
I did it for 3 of them. No wonder we're seeing so much control. It's all the same
That's
goddamn
all the
list.
same list.
Well, I'm sorry. This is gone to shit. But, all right, let's just skip the Guilds of Ravnica.
RTRTR.
Yep.
So what we got? Shockland reprint, huge.
Oh, good.
This definitely like really helped with a lot of the shock prices, especially like dropped them quite a bit. Assassin's Trophy. I remember that was the first thing that everyone's like flipping the fuck out. Like
You can hit Tron lands.
you gotta get a Golgari pre-cut or pre-release kit. Get a Golgari pre-release kit so you can get the stamped Assassin's Trophy. They were like $60 or something stupid at the time. So,
Mission Briefing was in this set.
yep.
The card no one remembers anymore.
Deafening
like,
Clarion. Yeah, Mission Briefing was like a kind of a snapcaster spell. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
Fucking garbage, bro.
Yeah.
The big one, Arclight Phoenix.
Yeah.
Big
That one
man.
took a minute. It took like a couple weeks, but once people got it, it just never stopped.
Oh, everybody wrote it off.
Yeah.
Oh, another one of those fucking Phoenix cards.
Oh,
Bunch of conditions and you can play a card. Like,
yeah.
big deal.
And this one was stupid. Some stupid conditions on
That's so good I play in Legacy.
it.
Whether or not I should be is a whole nother question. But
Yeah. Yep.
uh
Creeping Chill, very, very strong for the dredge decks. Like amazing. Because they just pass right over it and they're like, oh cool, I'm gonna Helix you for free on the way. So and then Crackling Drake.
I just threw
card.
that in because I like it.
I like that card too. That's a very cool card.
It's one of my favorite cards. This set is like the start of this almost new era of power level in standard cards.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it took a few years to really come to the realization, but I'm going to talk about some cards that are in like the next set, but like Light Up the Stage. What's the 3 damage spell?
Oh, Skewer the Critics.
Skewer the Critics, Crackling Drake, Assassin Trophy. There are a lot of like uncommon slots or like cards that there was even like a red future sight in this set that is like they almost wouldn't print that. And then Wilderness Reclamation is
Hmm.
that's the untapped lands at the end of turn, right?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
There's a lot of like card designs that they were printing that kind of got overlooked. That
Yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
like, whoa, this card, this is really good in isolation, or like it
mhm.
has very strong effects for its.
They
Yeah.
haven't touched with this card effect in like this power level in a while. Um, but then it starts to escalate with War of the Spark, where it's just like, okay, we really crossed the line on that one. And then you get Throne of Eldraine, you cross the line on a lot of cards on that set.
Mm-hmm. And then Theros came out right after that,
And
and even Theros was uh okay. Thassa's Oracle, fucking Underworld Breach, Heliod, like
I remember like
Shadow Spear.
a while after Theros came out, I was like, this is a hell of a set to spec on. Uro, Croxa, the cards and all the cards that you said.
Yep.
Like I was like, there are 8 good like hits in rare slots, and then the mythics. There's some bangers in the
All
mythics,
bangers. Yeah,
and
like
I'm like,
Thassa, all the gods were really good.
the set pricing, and then the lands. You have the full art lands,
Yep.
which were still kind of
But that style
unique.
of basic is like they haven't done that again, and
Mhm.
that one was a very unique one because it was like very Pokemon esque.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was just like, this. If I were to put money in sealed product, I was very high on that set.
That was one I should have taken your advice on that because I looked at the prices for a while too, and I thought about it. I was like, man, I had the money at the time, and I could have gone pretty deep on a couple sets of sealed product.
This is a fucking tangent, but let's look.
Yeah, let's see what it is.
This is not even one of the sets that are in the. It's probably still like $100.
Wow, look at that. 103.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you that there's just no money in sealed product anymore. Not like specking on sealed products is a fucking joke. Sorry, Rudy.
Yeah.
Love you, bro, but just not a thing. Um, yeah, I mean, not a big. There, we didn't write down all the cards from all the sets that have been played in modern, but
Mhm.
there's just not a lot.
But the ones that stand out, this is probably, it's a very short list,
Mhm.
I would say, so far. So, yeah.
In fact, KCI.
This is immediately following Guilds of Ravnica. What Grand Prix is this? Where is this at?
Atlanta.
Okay.
Man,
So,
Steer.
hardened modular again, some hardened scales. In fact, seeing Infect pop back up is pretty cool.
What's weird is like, I'm surprised that Infect isn't showing up even more than this. It's pretty good against the blue white deck. Just because like,
determine if you're one creature or two creatures.
well, if they're getting yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Terminus. You got the luck factor on Terminus, but if you don't have that on your side, then if you need to set it up, you're dead.
Yeah.
They mutagenic growth or what's the other card? Blossoming defense. Your one spot removal you have in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You're dead.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's fast enough to kind of compete with KCI. Not really, but maybe.
Yeah, maybe it folded a little bit to like kind of the hollow ones. There's a lot of Thoughtseize with Martyr Pyromancer probably going around at this time.
I think Infect's one of the decks that I expected to see way more than I have seen it, and
Yeah,
I question why more people didn't really play it.
yeah. Like when I
A
think
lot of
about
times.
Modern as a format, you would think there's more Infect present, but I really don't feel like we've seen a lot of that at all.
I don't even know if we've seen an Infect deck win a tournament. Maybe one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Especially early. Way more early.
Make pump spells better. They even came out with that new Toxic dude. I was like, holy shit, this card's insane.
Yeah. Venerated Rock Priest and then scale up in Modern Horizons as well.
Oh, they did give it a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One mana make it into a 6/4.
+5, +3, practically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, like maybe this is kind of getting to the point where I'm not liking modern as much. I don't want to. I like playing KCA, but I don't want to play Dredge and Hollow One. I don't like Tron. Like there's a lot of archetypes I just don't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten away from like I can't say it's gotten away from mid range because all the mid range has gone to creature based or type
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
And then control exists in some capacity, like in a strong capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What's your stance on like?
I really looked upon this kind of era pretty fondly because I really thought that it was still very high interaction. For the most part, like no matter what matchup you go against, almost exclusive, well, excluding KCI, you had a pretty fun game. Like you would genuinely have interaction. Like you couldn't afford to not interact with your opponent still. So it really, for me, kind of hit that balance, especially playing a combo deck. It hit that balance of interacting, but also being able to play my own game at the same time.
It feels like a very negative anti-silver bullet thing where it's like I'm gonna do my thing. If you have the supreme verdict, or if you have the stony silence, or the rest in peace, okay, you win.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, I win, guaranteed.
Yeah,
it just feels very determined.
And I think that there was a lot of the like maybe that was some of the deck list changing too, where you see like these random 1-ofs and 2-ofs pop up in decks because decks are trying to find ways around those silver bullets or like better ways to interact with them. Especially, just like being able to avoid, getting your deck strictly countered by singular cards when you're focusing on specific strategies like I'm going all in on discard, or I'm going all in on creature types, or I'm going all in on artifacts. There are these individual cards that can just shut them down. But when they have, that one or two slots where they can kind of flex around and dodge those bullets, that seems to be helpful.
Oh yeah,
especially at this time. So
you see a lot of people playing in those slots.
Yeah.
Caleb Shearer, big guy, not a guy known for Storm for a very long time. Wrote for Star City.
But like, at least deck list wise, these look very diverse.
True. We did Atlanta. Let's do Portland.
Here's where we see Isaac Phoenix pop up.
I like this one. I like this top 8 a lot.
I do too, actually. I think this is nice. Death Shadow in first place. This is the Grixis version. Still running Faithless Lootings. Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah,
3 crackling
drinks.
3 crackling drinks main deck. Let's go.
Thing in the ice. 4 thing in the ice.
The Nambo.
This deck was insane. I just remember like tons of just crazy like turn 1. Because what's its name is still around. The ape, Simian Spirit Guide. So turn 1 like land Simian Spirit Guide, Manamorphose. This that gut shot. Like
you saw Phoenix that hard in the Phoenix game.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have a lot of outlets to
get like 2 Phoenixes played on you on turn 1 before? I sure have.
Not that fucking hard.
Yeah.
I don't think I haven't.
Yeah.
But
because you could get it with if you just do is Arctic Phoenix 3 spells or 2? 3. You could get it with Spirit Guide, Manamorphose, Faithless Looting.
Yeah, but they're not playing. Well, most
or Faithless Looting, Manamorphose. Whichever.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw a Simian Spirit Guide build.
Yeah, maybe not.
But like turn 2 is definitely viable. Turn 1 is doable.
Yes.
With a Faithless Looting and you like gut shots to some extent.
Yeah.
But that's
the Manamorphose.
Turn 2 is very realistic.
Like I remember there being a discussion or topic about potentially banning Manamorphose because of this deck.
Yeah, I could believe that.
So.
And now look at it. It's forgotten about.
Yeah, wasn't $8 common, and now it's.
I like.
Can't find it anymore.
How they're playing Sleight of Hand in this deck. Sleight of Hand is actually what's reignited Arclight Phoenix in Pioneer right now.
Yeah.
They brought that up in that they're happy to see that come back alive. But there are going to be some I think they said there's going to be some bannings in Pioneer. So
I bet they're mostly going to turret like mono green
Fuck
potion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bye bye Karn.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 mana Karn seems really strong.
The
for
way
Pioneer.
the way they talked about it, the format was directly attacking Karn, where it's like you can have whatever sideboard piece you want in your fucking main deck, and your deck just goes above everybody else. It's too good.
Yeah. Yeah. The wish word is very strong.
Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Gift Storm. The Rock.
Classic. So this is right after Assassin's Trophy came out. So everyone's like, let's play Green Black Rock.
We can play just 2 colors, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see if the Elves has the combo in it. If not, I don't agree with it.
It does not.
It's fucking dumb.
I remember trying to build this list for my ex, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
And then
Blue Black Control with Bitter Blossom. Hilarious. This is funny. I like this deck list.
that's a spicy meatball.
Yeah.
I don't know if I play it. I never had good luck with Spell Stutter Sprite in Modern. I saw a deck in a league for Modern recently where it's playing Cursed Fae. That card might push me over, because especially with Flame of Venor, just how the cards are starting to interact now. I like it a lot.
The Wizard's energy and then the Fairy synergy.
I wish Spell Stutter Sprite said counter target spell if X is equal to less than or equal to the amount of mana spent on the spell. So I could just play this fucking spell and counter every single thing that's happening in Modern. All right, let's go to our awards. No, we got Liverpool.
Just 3 KCI lists in the top 8. This is a Team Unified again, but you actually can see what it is. So the first 3 are playing KCI. The first 3 trios that win.
That might have done it in.
Oh, probably.
Because it's getting banned in January.
In the 6th one, they're also playing KCI.
Yeah. So like this is, I guess, that you see what was it, a 3 or 4 in the top 8? It was like usually
Something
the death
like
nail.
Yeah.
See 4 of it in the top 8, it's gone.
Especially winning or getting like first, second, third seed.
Yeah, this deck was hated too. Like I said, you're the bad guy if you show up with it.
Oh yeah. I mean, we talked about it with the complexity of it and the rules, meandering around the rules and stuff like that. It was just way over so many people's heads. Where not being played a lot, super high skill cap. Okay, it's not healthy for the format.
Yeah. I want to look at some of these Arclight Phoenixes to see how they evolved. If they evolved a lot. Wow, Crackling Drake got played more than I expected.
Yeah.
Maximized Velocity was a spicy one.
Mostly get the jump start, so you could get that off really quickly.
It's guaranteed 2 spells in one.
Yeah.
And then you can pitch it to get one later.
Jumpstart was really unique. I really liked that mechanic, actually.
I'm very surprised at how few Charter courses are getting played
Honestly.
in these lists.
Honestly. I thought about that, too.
I
thought Charter Course saw way more play than this.
I guess, so, when I first imagined this deck, I was like, oh, you have Faithless Looting to fuel your Arclights into the graveyard, but I was wrong. That Lightning Axe, but on top of the Lightning Axe, or the discard, the Arclight Phoenix is like a benefit and not a downside. The 5 damage in a format that's kind of based around Lightning Bolt. Oh, here's another point. Up until Arclight Phoenix, Lightning Bolt's kind of on the downturn. It's getting pushed away.
No one's really, playing it. Yeah.
I just noticed that. But in a format that has historically been designed around Lightning Bolt, Lightning Ash just kills it all.
Yeah.
And a lot of decks weren't probably prepared for that for the red deck.
True.
So a little Teamer Battle Rage, what the fuck?
One of Teamer Battle Rage.
I don't like it. Fiery Temper, always a spicy meatball, but
yeah, pitch it to Lava Axe, shoot something for 3.
Okay. 1 team, 2 team, 3 teams.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6. 6 out of the top 8 teams are playing KCI.
Yeah. That's a nail in the coffin right there.
It's a team unified, but that's still they're just looking for the I bet if Matt Nass top aided another Grand Prix with this deck, or this happened, it was getting the shotgun in the face. So
Matt Nass won 2 Grand Prix in 2 months, and then top aided another one with this deck.
yeah, I remember the Magic TV. They're just going on. They're just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Best deck of the year.
I want to give it the blue white control.
No, when I say best deck,
Okay.
the objective best deck.
I'd probably say KCI.
Yeah,
I don't think there's really a competition there. Yeah, like you could maybe say Arclight Phoenix, but it's too early into its dominance to say that yet.
True, and you look at that last KCI like KCI race, Arclight Phoenix way better.
Oh yeah.
And then that KCI, you just that last Grand Prix, you see KCI just blowing it out of the water compared to like I don't know, maybe 4 of those were playing Arclight at the most.
Mm-hmm.
So
best card entering the format. There wasn't a lot. Yeah.
Arclight Phoenix.
Arclight or Teferi.
Or Teferi, yeah. Or maybe Jace or Bloodbraid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving it to Arclight.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I'd probably agree with that. I would put Teferi as a very, very close second. I think it's a very strong introduction.
Arclight is the only card out of all of those that got a card banned. Which is Faithlessly eventually.
Yep. Assassin's Trophy is pretty solid too, but I don't think that one's necessarily the best card.
True.
By any means.
New arrival deck.
KCI.
KCI.
Yeah.
But
that card.
You got Hollow One. You got Arclight Phoenix. You got
Mardu Pyromancer.
Mardu Pyromancer.
Yeah.
And even Lantern Control is still kind of coming up, but that was That was more of a last year deck.
Sure. Spirits too. There's like lots of. There actually quite a few new decks entering.
Humans.
Yep.
The Vengevine decks completely almost.
Ridgevine. Yeah. Dredge. A little bit on the newer side.
Hold on, it's like almost the whole format of fucking new deck. The elves, yeah. Storm was gone for a very long time, and it's finally getting a little bit of a resurgence. I would say it's re-entering the format.
Yeah.
New deck. Hardened Scales is a new deck. Dredge is fairly a newer, like a new archetype in the deck.
New bands.
Tron had always around. Yeah, there was a lot more Tron this year. Half the meta game is new decks.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Health of the format.
I'm gonna rate it lower than you. I kind of want to give it like a 5.
Sure.
Just that right off the cuff.
I would probably give it a 7. I would say that there were definitely challenges. I think that there are some unhealthy decks running around, especially like KCI into Phoenix. The graveyard synergies are very strong this year, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of responses to that or like really good deck interactions for that. But overall, like I said, I really agree. I really liked the kind of more nuanced interactions, like the very incremental advantage you could still get out of games, and that the games required certain levels of interaction still. Like you couldn't get away with just doing your thing very quickly unless you were you're playing Casey.
I'll be honest, I don't. Well, like there's I don't know if I agree with that fully.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of I'm going to do my thing, and if you have a hate piece, okay, there's that's the only piece of interaction that matters.
I feel like a lot more games that I played around this time drew out further into the game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Like there was less of you win on turn 4, turn 5. It was like we're drawing this out until the very end,
because the Dredge player hasn't conceded and you have rest in peace on the field.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll give it a 7, 6. I will agree that I don't think it was the greatest format, but I think that with the high variety of decks, especially remembering playing it from a local level, it did feel like an interesting format at least.
I'm looking at this here and going, I think this is where Modern starts to degenerate. think last year was the last good year. So I'm starting to mark 2017 as if we're putting a line in the sand for the Edison format. That might not necessarily be the best year, but it's the last viable year. It might be the last viable year, in my opinion.
Because it feels like once they did RTR, like the Shockwave reprint, that's like that's almost a benchmark point, right? Where it's like they're doing this specifically, like a little bit to help modern.
Oh yeah, every
So,
time they reprint it, Fetchland or Shockland, it is
and
directly for that.
you kind of mentioned like the push of standard cards towards a little bit higher of a power level around this time too. So, which I do kind of agree with.
And then, why are you playing this card, Bigger Destiny, in 2018? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there was another good one that I saw. I honestly was I'm hesitant about Ruined Halo. I don't think that was a good card at the time.
Yeah. Another card that we could put on this list of why are you playing that card? The first time KCI showed up on a fucking deck list. It just like,
why are you playing
what the
that?
fuck? Who's this noob?
They play Terrarion, and you're like, why are you playing that?
I'm gonna do this. You can't fucking do that, Judge.
What? 20 minutes later.
Let me explain the rules better than you've ever had to explain the rules on a level 2 judge test.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely I remember this year quite a bit. So playing Modern. Yeah, it was weird. I played a lot of Blue Eye Control during this period because it was just really good.
So the card synergies and stopping your opponent with like these decks, like Dredge. Like I was saying, you got Graveyard Hate, and then okay, removal's a fucking joke. Whereas when you played Splitter Twin and Birthing Pod, you had these Silver Bullet type of cards that could come in and really put a damper on their play style, but they had more of a backup game. But then on top of it, like basic removal still dealt with a lot of that kind of those combos. And that's why I'm like, you have more ways of attacking, plus you do have those silver bullets. It just felt like a more answerable type of thing where there's been so many games of like, I look at Dredge where I'm across from my opponent, it's just like, okay, yeah, I lightning bolt your fucking prized amalgam. Like, all right, I'm losing this game. Where are we going from here? Like, the game's already been decided. Why are we still playing it? Or
True.
I draw the rest in peace the turn after.
So like less of the format's kind of moved away from being able to respond with removal and more of like you have to have the silver bullet answers.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Which like you can see that with the combo like you said, Dredge, specifically Dredge and KCI are like the two I can think of. Like if you don't have the graveyard removal or you don't have the artifact interact right away, you're very close to just losing the game right off the bat.
This year feels like Yu-Gi-Oh to me. It's like graveyard interactions. It's the cards that they're eventually going to ban are cards related to a lot of these decks, and they're the graveyard enablers.
Oh yeah. I'm really this is like the kind of the year of the graveyard. Like,
well, next year's the year of the fucking graveyard, bro.
True.
We get Hogak.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But this is like the beginning of it a little bit. You know, there's lots of graveyard synergy decks like Martyr Pyromancer playing into it, KCI. All these deck lists are just kind of like playing into it in some way. So,
yeah, this is a broken format, but people just aren't good enough to do the Hogak thing, where Hogak's like, okay, you do the XYZ, you win the game. Whereas like KCI, you have to explain your XYZ in every interaction, every opponent, and it. Yeah, I don't know. Not a big fan of it. and then next year it's not really going to get better. The next light at the end of the tunnel is the format we had before Lord of the Rings. I kind of liked.
Hmm.
Um, Indomitable creativity was getting too powerful and becoming too much of a percentage of the metagame.
Hmm.
Other than that, I thought it was pretty reverse. Like, but we'll
Yeah.
we'll eventually get there.
Oh
I
yeah.
I think this is where I start disliking. The slow roll of dislike in modern starts to happen.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You start encountering little problems here and there, and it's the cards start piling up. So.
I'm gonna look up one more thing before we go to see if there was like a ban, like from last year, to see if there was a banning or something that triggered all like those fair decks to kind of go away. So they banned Taxing Probe and Gary Grave Troll, which
Hmm.
shouldn't do anything. Um, I'm not really seeing like any the typal decks are fine. Like
I don't. I mean, not really. I mean, it looks like maybe there's some cards that could have been enablers to send kind of the combo synergy
mhm.
because you do get stuff like Scrap Drawer coming in and Cathartic Reunion.
What Merc Affinity? Like Affinity's gone.
Yeah,
It is only Hardened Scales at this point,
yeah,
and it didn't get anything banned. It's not like the people are playing more removal spell. Maybe it's just they can't compete with the Dredge decks or Casey. They're not fast enough to compete with either one of those decks.
mm,
So it just naturally got pushed out, and then when they banned Mox Opal because of KCI.
I mean, it's also the case too where like that's one thing I was thinking is that maybe they're playing Mox Opals, so they have to pick one. Kind of. I mean, that's how it's been for me as a Magic player, where it's like if you have 4 copies of this one card, I can only play these 4 copies in one deck, so I need to pick one.
True.
And if KCI is the best deck, where I'm gonna put my Mox Opals?
KCI doesn't speak to a lot of players though.
I know, yeah.
And Death Shadow's falling off. I'm just trying to pinpoint what really flipped the switch on more of the degeneracy. But
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of thinking back again about the enablers from this year specifically, where like you see Walking Ballista as a combo win con. Oh god, you have to show me the list of like the cards, but
Maybe it's because Jun and Abzan's gone
not too.
from the metagame.
You cutting out of a lot of the mid range decks.
You don't see any mid range.
Yeah.
The blue red style decks are gone. It's just hard control.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, like what's mid range right now in modern?
today,
yeah,
Rhinos. And
that does
Scam,
not feel mid range at all.
it's not your traditional Jun list, but
Yeah.
those are pretty mid rangey decks.
Yeah,
You're playing fucking 4/4s on turn 3. In the essence, that's what you're kind of doing. I mean, Rhinos has a bit of a tempo-y feel to it as well.
mm-hmm.
But Scam, yeah, it's discard and high power level threats.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
not as much removal. Well, except for Fury. I mean, Fury and Orcish Bowmasters.
right.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird kind of shift in the format in like the last year or two.
And then you have like the Omnath piles are those control decks with conveniently like some of the removal spells are threats, and there's just a card that's such a high power level that you just play it because you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially being amalgamated into 5 colors, like you just have so much more access to everything.
You have this mid range. You have this mid range threat that replaces itself immediately, and if you wait till turn 5, it does a better to fairy for mana. It's like that time spiral or frantic research. The negative aspects of that are brought back on this card. It's not this verbatim and one for one
Mm-hmm.
use of that technology, but it's That's what it's doing. You're getting your mana back for free.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't got anything else. I think 2018. Anything else notable you can think about with it?
I'm looking back and I'm like, why? I don't like this. I'm starting to hate this shit.
Starting to look at my devoted druid and going, what the fuck am I doing? Why can't I play these anymore?
It barely exists.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So this makes me sad. I haven't seen a lot of it pop up at all in like pro tours and stuff like that. So which is what it is.
Oh, it wasn't like it's not horrible against that metagame, I'd say, because like
No, I did fine when I was playing it. I was fine. Like KCI was even then I could race KCI sometimes if I had like my turn 3 or turn 4. The nuts win. Yeah.
How does KCI kill you with infinite?
Pyrite Spellbomb.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay, so infinites. Yeah, but like Dredge can't be infinite life, and then there's.
Yeah. I might have been close to getting off of the infinite life at this point. Kitchen things kind of fell off. And then he just went straight into the ballista combo. And back it up with like Ewits and stuff like that. Just more residual stuff that does more for your combo.
I mean, I think we're just around the corner as the super degenerate builds with lunging, whatever.
Postmortem Lunge and
lunge.
Once Upon a Time.
Where it's like, I no longer recognize the deck. I don't want to play it anymore. It's just a bad combo deck.
I loved Postmortem Lunge. I'm going to be honest. That was hot fucking tech. I loved it every time. No one ever saw it coming. Where I'm just like, I'm gonna pay 2 mana, bring this devoted druid back, tap it out, play my Vizier combo off with like no mana left in pool.
I'm very aware you got me on it one day, and I was fucking pissed. I was not happy. All right, well,
let's wrap it up for tonight, shall we?
Yeah, next week's gonna be a big week, so.
2019, Modern Horizons comes out next year, right? Or something like that. So sometime around then. So.
All right.
I don't know.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next week.
Bye.
2019. Bye.